and welcome to part 2 of our English verb tenses review. So far, we've taken a look at our two present tenses, the simple present and the present continuous. Now we're going to move on and take a look at the same two aspects, but in the past time. So our first tense that we'll take a look at is our simple past. As you all know by now, the very first thing we want to do is draw a timeline. So, what time are we talking about with the simple past? Well, it's that one specific time in the past when we completed an action. And that is what we're going to say is our use of this verb tense. A specific time in the past. So of course our next question is, what verb form is going to be used here? Hopefully you said verb to. Remember, that's our ed ending for regular verbs and verb changes for the irregular verbs. All right, now that we've got that, let's take a look at some examples. So first, let's make a statement with our same verb, write. He wrote yesterday. Now, how am I going to change this into a negative? He didn't write yesterday. Did you catch that helping verb that we just inserted there? So just like for our simple present, do and does, for questions and negatives, we also have a helping verb for the simple past. Questions and negatives are going to take that helping verb of did. So let's do our final example then of a question. How am I going to change this into a question? Just like before with our simple present, same thing, we're going to switch the order of that subject and helping verb and start with our helping verb did, he, base form of the verb, write, yesterday. And we won't forget our question mark at the end. Let's just underline those verb forms to make sure we've spotted them. So in the first one, we have verb to, wrote. Here we have verb to of do, and that acts as our helping verb with the negative and base form. And for our question, we just switched that subject and helping verb. Did he write? Okay, last thing that we want to think about, some tips and key words for the simple past. So what kind of words do you usually see that indicate to you past tense? Well, one key word, as we see here, yesterday. We also see words like last night, last week, last year, and ago. 3 weeks ago, 1 day ago, 10 years ago. And that's our simple past tense. Now let's compare it to our past continuous tense. So of course, we want to be thinking about also here our timeline. What time are we talking about with the past continuous? Well, this one gets a little interesting because this is, of course, talking about one event that was continuing or in progress in the past. But usually this is in relation to another action or another time. We're talking about what happened in connection to something. So that is in fact our use for this form. The past continuous is used to tell us about one continuing action either interrupted by another one or in relation to another time. So in relation to another action or time. Most often an action though. So what verb forms are we going to see for this? Well, just like for our present continuous, we still need those helping verbs. But now, instead of in the present, our helping verbs go to the past, right? So we have was and were. Again, I was, you were, he, she, it was, right? We were, they were. Plus our verb for. Again, remember that's our ing form of the verb. Okay, let's take a look at some real life examples. We'll stick with our same verb, write. So for example, he was writing when the phone rang. Now, you'll notice here, very important, here was writing, we've got our past continuous. And did you see what the other action was that we saw? When the phone rang. So here we've got something that was continuing interrupted by another action. How do I make this negative? Well, just add our not, right? So he wasn't writing when the phone rang. All right, final challenge. Now that we've seen our negative wasn't writing, how do I change this into a question? It's easy by now, right? I just switch that helping verb and subject to get was he writing when the phone rang. Same part of the sentence there. So again, we have our helping verb, subject, and our verb for, ing. Now, you've seen at least one key word in this sentence. Did you identify it yet? That when. So when is one of our key words. The other one that we're also going to see here is while. Something important to note is that when I see when, it's going to be followed by that verb to, that past tense. If I have while, it's actually going to be followed by my past continuous, was, were, verb for. So I could change this sentence to, while he was writing, comma, the phone rang. We're going to see several other ones too, until, and occasionally before or after for another time. These words let us know past continuous. Well, all right, that's it. We've seen now our simple present, present continuous, simple past, past continuous. Stay tuned for more verb tenses.